Hi, Jose.
Hi. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Where is everyone?
I don't know. I'm here.
So I'm going to prepare my cereal.
Oh. Hi.
Hi, David. Hi, Mr.
Hello.
Webb. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Isadora.
Hi.
Evening.
Hi. I'm waiting for Mr. Webb.
We can hear you, Mr. Webb.
Mr. Webb, where are you?
How about now?
Oh, yes.
Okay, sorry.
There?
The mute button was on the computer. All right, how is everybody now? Everybody
Good.
fine? Okay, good.
Everybody good.
Oh yeah, you gotta get your vitamin D there.
My cereal.
Very good. All right, here we are. It's Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night. We're going to look at the last new idea in the chapter tonight. And then on Thursday, and then maybe again on Monday or Tuesday, we will review, and then we'll be done with chapter 3. Remember, chapter 2 and chapter 3 are very important chapters for the level, especially the passive and the indirect questions. So we've been practicing those so far. All right.
Did you put a lesson? Did you put a lesson from yesterday? Did you put in the?
Oh, did I? Maybe I didn't do that. Did I send the lesson? The slides? Okay.
No.
All right. Let me make sure I do that tonight. Okay. All right. Let's see here. This is Edith, I think. Okay. All right. Actually, while we're waiting, why don't I do that right now so I don't forget? Okay. Let me see here. Here we go. Okay. Let's see here. The slides from last night. Make sure everybody gets them. Let's see here. Okay, evening class. Connect. Slides from last night. Here we go.
Hi,
Give me just a second here.
Hello.
Let's see here. Indirect yes, no questions. Here we go. There we go. Okay, and then put it in remind. Thank you for your patience, students. I will be with you in just 1 second here. As soon as I connect this, I should have done it before the class, but sometimes teacher gets busy. Let's see, here we go. Okay, push the button. Did everybody have a good day?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. There we go. Okay. All right. And one more button to push. Wait for it to upload to the document and go. Okay, there we go. All right, so everybody should have those slides now. Okay. All right. Anybody else in the waiting room? No? Okay, good. All right. Okay, are we ready to begin? After that slow start there, let's jump right in and take a look at our verb practice, and then we're going to talk about using that tonight. We talked about using if and whether last night. Tonight I want to talk about using that. Okay. All right. What do we have here? It says for many years is our first one. Sounds like good old present perfect to me, right?
Has been.
Has given, right? Has given or has been
given.
giving,
Has been given.
right? An action that started in the past and is still happening today. She has been giving his wife flowers on her birthday for many years. Now the next one has the word hate. So what can we say with hate?
Mopping.
Mopping or to mop, both are fine.
Well,
With hate, we can use gerund or infinitive, no problem. Let's see, the next one says,
hasn't felt
right? Two possibilities, right? Hasn't felt
or hasn't been
hasn't been feeling, right?
Feeling.
He hasn't felt well, he hasn't been feeling well. All right, the next one looks like good old future. Next week, what's going to happen next week? We will study or we are going to study. Number 5 says ever. Ever sounds like present perfect to me, huh? What can we say?
Has.
Has
Has
Franklin ever
traveled.
Excellent. Now this one we had a lesson on this one earlier this year, right?
We are supposed to read.
Supposed to, exactly.
To read.
We use that infinitive with supposed to. Remember, you are supposed to, you are expected to, you are encouraged to. That passive plus the infinitive.
Recommend to.
Okay.
Recommend.
Well, yeah, not recommend. Recommend doesn't fit in that category.
No. Mm.
But advise does. So, yeah. Anyway, the next one is the word regret. Now, this is something that he did, and now he feels bad about it. He did it in the past, and now he feels bad.
Cutting.
Cutting, right. We want the gerund in that case.
Cutting.
He regrets cutting his son's hair. It looks terrible. Why did I do that? Recommend. Should we use gerund or infinitive there?
I recommend.
To
Reviewing.
Reviewing.
Right. Gerund. Remember, suggest and recommend use gerund.
yeah.
Suggest and recommend use gerund.
Recommend.
What about intend? Gerund or infinitive?
Intend.
Infinitive.
That's right. To correct. Teacher intends to correct the exams by the end of the week. Yeah, if you gave me a homework assignment, I'm going to have it corrected by tomorrow, okay? So be looking for it in your email by the end of the day, tomorrow.
Okay.
I will get it all done tomorrow. Oh, we got more people waiting. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. All right, the next one is how long? That's a classic, right?
Have you
Exactly. Have you been? How long have you been a volunteer at the pet shelter? Have you been? Present perfect. Now the next one says anymore. Anymore means not now, right? Anymore means not now. So what can we say for this one? Should I say isn't or doesn't?
Isn't?
Isn't raining
Right.
anymore.
It isn't raining.
Isn't
Exactly.
raining.
It isn't raining anymore. We can go outside. Now the next one says every Saturday something happens. That's a regular activity. Should I say is watering or waters?
Waters.
Waters.
Waters with a S. That's right. Simple present. Simple present for the regular activities. Now the next one is a question about yesterday. Sounds like good
Where
old
did
simple
you-
past.
Where
Exactly.
do you
Where did
Where did you park?
park?
P-A-R-K. Where did you park when you went to the game yesterday? Where did you park? All right. The next one says never. What can we say for never? I
have never.
I had
never
never been.
In.
Been.
present perfect. All right. The next one is about Memorial Day. That's coming up in 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
So
We
what can
won't.
we won't have?
We won't have.
Want.
No.
And remember, for holidays and stuff like that, you can use simple present too. We don't have class on Memorial Day.
We don't. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine too. Or we could say we aren't going to have. They're all good. Yeah. When you have a schedule, you can use simple present to talk about the schedule. Try. Should we use try to or try ing?
Try to.
Stay in.
Try to.
Try
Try
to
to
stay.
stay warm. Remember, we use try to with a goal. I tried to do it. It was hard, but I tried to do it. We are all trying to improve our English, right? Trying to improve our English. Can we do it? I hope so. Let's see. At the moment, good old present continuous, right?
Are
Are the boys
Are the
Are
boys.
the
Are
boys
waiting.
waiting?
Waiting.
Boys waiting.
Are waiting, exactly. Oops. Are the boys waiting? Are the boys waiting for the bus at the moment? Number 18 says many times before. Many times before. What can we say for that one?
has
Has seen.
Has
seen.
seen. Mhm.
Have
Betty has seen the movie Titanic many times before. Has seen. Okay. The next one says I dislike. Dislike
Taking.
what? Okay.
Taking.
taking?
Taken.
I dislike taking my lunch break too early because then I get hungry in the afternoon. Dislike plus gerund. Now the next one, is it singular or plural?
plural.
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 Plural, yeah.
Remember M-E-N is plural. So should we say is or are?
What?
Are.
Why are
talking?
those men?
Why are those men talking so loudly? It's after 11 o'clock. Quiet down.
Maybe they are drunk.
Yeah, could be. They're having a quarantine party. All right. The next one, need. We know that one, right? That's way back in level 2. We learned that one. Need to.
To work.
To work.
Work.
The
Work.
plumber needs to work on the sink after lunch. Needs to. All right. The next one says that no extra chairs, right? Remember, whenever we have there, we got to look at the noun. So should we say isn't or aren't?
Aren't.
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 There aren't any extra chairs. Aren't. Okay. The next one is how many people at the game tomorrow?
Will
Will there
Will there be? Right.
Will there
Right. Remember, in future, we're going to say there will be. I didn't want what?
to cook?
To cook.
cook?
Want plus infinitive. And what about plan?
Plans to.
Also
To have.
infinitive, right?
To have.
Plans to have a party next month.
Maybe something that you are going to do in the
Right.
future.
Potential actions in the future tend to be infinitives. That is absolutely right, Jose. Okay. Preguntas, problemas.
A
Good.
lot.
No,
Okay.
a lot. Okay. All right. Let's see who we have here tonight. Let's see. We have Isadora. And we have David Segovia
Hi.
and Claudia. And Jose Garcia is making his Fruit Loops. Let's see. And Julio is here. Rita's here. Rita's in San Francisco tonight. Now you moved from Miami Beach to San Francisco.
Yes, Mr. Well,
Armando's here. Edith's here. Galaxy S9. Is this Guadalupe? Galaxy S9. Who are you? Guadalupe, are you here?
It's me, Rosendo.
Rosendo. Okay, let me
Yes.
change the name. Rosendo. Okay. All right. Always like to have good. And Guadalupe's here. I get the thumbs up from Guadalupe. David Azuela's here. Hello, David.
Hello,
Nice.
Mr. Webb.
Nice to see your dog.
Oh, yes, we love it.
Your intelligent dog. And Leonardo's here. All right. Excellent. Nice to see you all on a Wednesday night. Like I said, tonight we're going to look at the last, what we call noun clause, right? We already looked at the clauses that begin with when and where and why and how and who, right? Those are called the WH questions. We looked at those Thursday and Monday. Last night we looked at the if and the whether, right? Tonight we're going to look at the word that, or that clause. And remember, we talked about it a little bit last night. When do we use that? For facts and opinions, but also for statements. And that's what we're going to look at tonight, using that for a statement. Okay, sounds good?
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right, so
Good,
let's jump into our presentation tonight. And then I will turn off our microphones for just a minute. And then we're going to practice after we get through the presentation. So give me a few minutes of quiet, and then we'll jump right in and practice a lot tonight. I have a lot of speaking practice for tonight. All right, so put the microphones off. Oh, here comes somebody. I think that's Guadalupe again. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen here. Okay. All right. Can everybody give me a thumbs up if they can see the slide? There we go. Okay. Reported speech and direct quotation. Now, I see a lot of problems with this in writing because sometimes we're not sure when to use quotation marks. We're not sure when to use the word that when we want to say what somebody else said. So let's go through it little by little, and then we'll talk about it in practice toward the end here. All right, what did he say? Whenever we want to report what we are told, we have a number of options. Your car will be ready tomorrow, said the mechanic. This is what we call direct quotation, right? We have quotation marks and a comma. That's called direct quotation. We don't use that very much, and certainly we don't use it in spoken English. We only use it in writing. This is more typical. The mechanic said that the car would be ready the next day, right? Notice I'm changing a lot of things in the original statement. The next one here is even more changes, right? The mechanic told me to pick up the car the following day. So all three of these, you're saying basically the same thing. But one is what we call direct quotation. One is what we call reported speech. And the last one is what we call a reported command. So each one of those is a little bit different in the grammar. So we need to talk about each one by one. Okay, now the first one I'm going to talk about is the one that we never use when we're speaking because it's all about punctuation. And that is direct quotation, right? We use this rarely, only when we want to repeat the exact words of the person, right? If you change any of the words, we're not going to use quotation marks, right? And we rarely do that unless I'm writing a newspaper story or something like that, or I'm quoting from a book or an article, right? I only use this when I need the exact words. And in this case, we need quotation marks. So let's have a little story using quotation marks. Here's Lucy, and here's her boyfriend, right? I'm really tired, declared Lucy. Let's take a break. Notice what we have here. We have quotation marks and a comma, and then a period after Lucy, and then a capital L. Okay, Thomas replied, comma, comma, but only for 10 minutes. Right? Notice here, I have a lowercase b, a small b, because this is not the beginning of a new sentence. It's part of the okay sentence. Notice I can also put Lucy said at the beginning. Lucy said, comma, that's fine. I just need to rest my feet for a while. Right? Again, we have a comma and a quotation mark. Would you like a bottle of water? Thomas asked. Notice when I have a question mark, I'm going to keep that question mark because it's not a reported question anymore. It's an actual question. So, would you like a bottle of water? Thomas asked. Absolutely, Lucy answered. Here's an exclamation point, and again, no change to the punctuation. So at the end of my quotation, it's usually a comma, but sometimes it's a question mark, sometimes it's an exclamation point. Okay? We don't spend a lot of time talking about this in English because unless you're a newspaper reporter or you're a novelist, you almost never use quotation marks, right? Maybe if you're writing a paper for a college class and you want to quote exactly from what some professor said, but usually we don't use this. But notice we have a lot of different possibilities when we do. And we can talk more about that maybe another day, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one today. Just remember that when I say the exact words, I need my quotation mark, right? So for example, if I say, he said, what are you doing? I need a quotation mark there. But on the other hand, he asked me what I was doing, no quotation mark. All right, now let's look at the same thing in a more normal way, where we call it a paraphrase. Paraphrase means I'm saying what they said, but it's not the exact words. I'm saying what they said, but it's not the exact words. Example, it's called a paraphrase, or sometimes we call it reported speech. Look at this little story, same story, but now I'm using a reported speech. Notice what it says. Lucy said that she was really tired and suggested that she and Thomas take a break. Thomas agreed, but told her that he wanted to stop for just 10 minutes. Lucy said that it was fine and went on to explain that she needed to rest her feet for a little while. Then Thomas asked her if she wanted a bottle of water, and Lucy eagerly agreed. Right? Did I use exactly the same words? No. But I told the story exactly what happened. This is what we call a paraphrase, where I say what happened, but I don't use the exact words of the people. Right? Because what did Lucy say? She said, I'm tired, let's take a break. Right? Did I write that? No. I said she was tired and suggested they take a break. So I'm using different words, but I'm communicating the same idea. This is what we mean when we say reported speech. I'm telling what I remember. I'm telling what I remember. I'm not telling the exact words, right? Because very rarely do you remember exactly what somebody said. You remember basically what they said, right? Or sometimes you don't remember at all. Depends on how many beer you drink before they say it, right? So here we have the punctuation is different and the verbs are different. Notice, no commas. I needed commas after said in direct quotation, right? Lucy said, comma. Notice I can also use that. I use that in many different cases here, right? And for questions, I need to use that question form that we were using yesterday. Remember, if in a question. And look at our verbs. What's going on with the verbs? Past tense, past tense, past tense, past tense, right? It's all past tense verbs. Why? Because this conversation happened last week or 2 years ago, or I don't know when. It's not happening right now. So even though Lucy said, I am tired, that was yesterday, right? Maybe she's fine right now. So I said, Lucy said that she was tired. That's what we call reported speech. We change the verbs because the story is from the past. The story is from the past. Okay, so let's look at this one a little more closely. Reported speech is what we call it. When we use the reported speech and the main verb is simple past, what do I mean? Told, said, asked, mentioned, explained. Whatever the verb is, if it's past, we want to use a past form in the other verbs too, right? So that we want all past tense. Let me show you some examples here. I saw Elmer yesterday and he said that he was very busy, right? This verb is past, so this verb is past too. I called Maria last night and I asked her how she was doing, right? Simple past, past continuous. Asked, was doing. My son promised me that he wouldn't be late for dinner, right? Again, we have past here and we have a past form here, would. Remember the partners, would and simple past. Would and simple past. I told my neighbors that they could swim in my pool. Not can, could. I told my neighbors that they could swim in my pool. Melissa wondered why John hadn't done his project. Again, wondered is past, so this is past perfect. The villagers believed that the amulet had magical powers, right? Believed and had, right? Do you have the word amulet in Spanish? Amulet? You have that word? Like a magical thing? Like a little necklace or something like that, amulet, right? The villagers believed the amulet had magical powers. So look at my first verb. Simple past, right? Said, asked, promised, told, wondered, believed. When that first verb is simple past, todos los otros need to be simple past. All the others need to be some kind of past. Not necessarily simple past, but some kind of past. All right, let's look at this more closely. This is what we call the sequence of tenses. First verb past, other verbs past. We always want to be consistent in past. If my first verb is past, everything needs to be past. And here's the forms that we're going to do. If the statement has am, is, are, the report will have was and were. So if somebody says, I am tired, what do I say? She told me she was tired. Simple present becomes simple past. So if someone says, I have a dog, you say, he told me he had a dog. Had. He told me he had a dog. Present continuous changes to past continuous. So someone says, I'm looking for my cell phone. I said, David told me he was looking for his cell phone. Told me he was looking for his cell phone. Present perfect changes to past perfect. If someone says, I have never eaten sushi, I say, Melanie told me she had never eaten sushi. Simple past also changes to past perfect. So if someone says, I took the test, I'll say, Alberto told me he had taken the test. Was and were changes to had been. So if someone says, I was busy, I was busy. He told me that he had been busy. Past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. So for example, you might say, I was looking for my car. He says, he told me that he had been looking for his car. All right, let's look at another one. Will changes to would. Right, so someone says, don't worry, I will be there. I will be there. He told me that he would be there. Can becomes could. So someone says, I can speak Spanish. He told me that he could speak Spanish. We're making all these changes to accommodate the past tense. May changes to might. So someone says, I may retire soon. He told me that he might retire soon. Must changes to had to. So, for example, you might say, the doctor told me that I had to lose weight. The doctor told me that I had to lose weight. Should, look at this one, no change. Should stays the same. So if someone says, I should exercise, he told me that I should exercise. No change. And another one that doesn't change is might. Might doesn't change either. So he says, I might go to the party. Roberto told me that he might go to the party. No change. So should and might stay the same. Everything else is going to change. Everything else is going to change. All right, you need a little time to write that down, I think. I'm going to turn on the microphones and you can tell me when you're ready to move on to the next one. Okay, let's see. Hold on here. Microphone's on. All right. You need more time to write that down?
Yes, Mr. Webb. just
Okay, no problem. While you're writing, I'll give you some more examples. So if somebody says, my parents are retired, I say, he told me that his parents were retired. If someone says, I live near the beach, I say, Paulina told me that she lived near the beach. If someone says, we are painting our house, they said that they were painting their house. I have seen the movie. Pedro told me that he had seen the movie. Simple past, he went to the store. Jose told me that he had gone to the store. I was sick. Felix told me that he had been sick. I was working yesterday. Leonardo told me he had been working yesterday. I will see you tomorrow. John told me that he would see me the next day. I can drive a car. Karen said that she could drive a car. I may be there. Jose said he might be there. Everybody must have a seatbelt. The police officer told me that everybody had to have a seatbelt. We should see a movie. Victor suggested that we should see a movie. I might come back next year. The baseball player said that he might come back the next year. No problem? Everybody got it copied down?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, let me turn off the mics for a second and let's do a few more things before we practice. All right, gonna mute everybody there. Okay, there we go. Nice and quiet. Let's go to the next slide. Examples of reported speech. Okay, here we go. Watch the changes in these examples. We don't have enough time to do the test, said the students. That's direct speech. We have don't. Don't is simple present, right? So what am I going to change it to? Simple past. The students said they didn't have enough time to do the test. Let's look at another one. I'm looking for my keys, said Danny. What is this? Present continuous. Danny said he was looking for his keys. I took level 3 last semester, Victor explained. Again, we have simple past here. So what are we going to change it to? Past perfect. Victor said that he had taken level 3 the semester before. And one more example. I will be home tomorrow, Amy said to her husband. Amy told her husband that she would be home the next day. Notice we're changing 3 different things. Claro, we are changing the verb, right? Don't, didn't. But look what else we're changing. We're changing the pronouns, right? He and his. And we're changing the times. Last semester becomes the semester before. Tomorrow becomes the next day. So we're changing 3 different things. The time, the pronouns, and the verb. Got to make 3 changes. Exceptions. And this is actually in your book. If you look in chapter 3 in your book, they talk all about the exception. They don't talk about the rule. I don't know why not. But the rule is in the next book. So we're going to look at that tonight a little later. But the exception is this. Sometimes in informal English, we don't make the verb changes, especially when the statement is very recent and still true. So if somebody told you something 10 minutes ago, probably we won't change the verbs, right? If somebody says, I'm hungry, and I say, oh, Mr. Webb said that he's hungry, right? Because I'm still hungry, right? If the thing is still true, you can use simple no changes, right? Just say what the person said. Well, let me show you some examples. I just talked to Jessica. She said she's looking for a job, right? Still true. She's still looking right now. Miguel told me that he needs some help in his math class. He still needs the help. It's still true. So no change really necessary. In class today, the teacher said we're going to have a test soon, right? Simple future, right? No change necessary. Al just called. He said he's on his way and will be here shortly. Again, no changes are necessary. And if you look in your book in chapter 3, this is what they're describing, what we call the informal reported speech. The formal reported speech is in the next book, which we're going to look at tonight. But if you look in your book, it talks all about this. Talks all about this, not changing the verbs, right? So when do we do this? When it's still true and when it's very recent. If your mother told you something in 1975, of course we're going to change the verbs. But if your mother told you something at 3 o'clock today, maybe we won't change the verbs. Right? So it's not, this is not a rule that is always done. It's not always done. So you see all of these examples, we don't change the verb. The verbs are still present or future or present continuous, right? So the verbs aren't changing. So sometimes people get a little flojo with this kind of English and are not so serious about making the changes. Like I said, informal English. Statement is very recent and still true. Be careful. ¿Por qué? Remember to change the pronouns to third person and change the time and place words in addition to the verbs. Like I said, 3 changes we have to make. We change the verbs, we change the pronouns, we change the time. So instead of saying today, we'll say that day. Right? So if someone says, I'm busy today, you say, oh, I saw Jorge last night. He told me he was busy that day. Instead of saying yesterday, we'll say the day before. Instead of saying tomorrow, we'll say the next day. Instead of saying this morning, we'll say that morning. Instead of this afternoon, that afternoon. Instead of tonight, that night. Instead of next week, the following week. Instead of saying 3 days ago, we'll say 3 days before. Now with this and these, we'll change it just to the. So if someone says, if someone says, do you like this hat? You say, the teacher asked me if I liked the hat, right? Because it's not this hat anymore. I said this, but you're not going to say this when you report. The same thing with these, right? If someone says, these apples are rotten, right? The professor told me that the apples were rotten, the apples. And finally, instead of saying here, we say there. So for example, I talked to my cousin in Seattle. He said that the weather there was wonderful, right? Because he's not in Los Angeles. He's in Seattle. But what does he say? The weather here is fantastic. The weather here. But I don't say here, I say there. And I'll give you a few minutes to write those down if you want to. Turn on your microphones. You can let me know. You need a little more time to write?
No, my God.
So the blue is what the person actually said. The red is what we change it to when we're reporting.
Mhm.
The red is what we say when we're reporting the comment. So for example, I call my cousin last weekend. I say, "Hey cousin, how are you?" He says, "I'm fine, but it's raining today." So he say, "I called my cousin last weekend. I asked him how he was. He said that he was fine, but it was raining that day instead of today, because it's not today anymore. It was last Saturday." Right? The same thing true with same thing true with yesterday. Right? If I call my cousin on Saturday and I say, "Hey, what did you do last night?" He said, "Well, yesterday I worked really hard, so I didn't go out last night." So I say, "Well, my cousin said that he had worked very hard the day before, so he didn't go out that night," etc. Okay? More time? More time? Or are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm
More time.
ready.
Little more time? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
Mr.
a little bit.
No problem. Again, I will send you these slides so you can have them on your computer or your phone. And remember, I also put the slides into the Schoology page after each class as well. So they're in two different places. So you can always look at these slides after the class. No problems?
No problem, teacher.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Next page. Reporting questions. Oh boy, now we're getting tricky. Remember what we talked about on Thursday and Monday and Tuesday, right? Indirect questions, right? Connector, subject, verb, right? So when we were reporting a question, I got to still do that. And I got to change the verb to past. So I have two different things I need to do, right? When we report a question, we must make two sets of changes. For example, "Are you busy?" asked Lisa. What could we say for this one? What could we say? Lisa asked me
If I was busy.
Exactly.
Lisa asked me if I was busy.
See what I did? I had to put that "if" in there, and I had to change "are you" to "I was." I changed my pronouns, and I changed my order of the word. Let's look at another one. "What did you buy at the mall?" My mom asked. What did you buy at the mall? Remember, what happens to did? Throw it away,
Throw away.
right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to say? My mom asked me
Asked me
what I had bought at the mall.
Right.
what I have bought at the mall.
My mom asked me what I had bought at the mall. Sometimes we're a little bit flojo and we don't say the had. We just say, my mom asked me what I bought at the mall. Yeah, with simple past, we often just forget about it. How long do we have to wait? Okay, what do we have there? Do. What happens to do? Throw it away. Throw it away. So what are we going to say? Bradley wanted to know how long they had to wait. Wanted to know how long they had to wait. Right? I threw away do, and I changed have to had. So we have to be careful with questions. We have to be careful with questions. We're going to practice that in just a minute. No problems? No problems. Good. All right. Next slide. Commands. We talked about this in the last chapter. Remember, what were we talking about in the last chapter? We were talking about expect and encourage and all of those words, right? What do we use? Verb, object.
Object, infinitive.
We had a whole lesson about that in the last chapter. So this is just review from the last chapter, right? Sit down, children, said the teacher. Now this is a command, right? So I'm not going to change to past tense. What am I going to do? The teacher
Teacher said,
told the children,
told children,
infinitive, por favor,
teacher told
to
the
sit
down.
down.
To sit
Exactly.
sit down,
The teacher told the children to sit
to
down,
sit down,
right? The teacher told the children to
told the
sit down.
children to sit down.
Yeah, we had this lesson like 2 weeks ago, right? Don't worry about making mistakes, Carlos, said Luisa. Now this one's a negative. Don't worry. Remember what happens with the negative? What can we say here?
No. No.
Luisa told Carlos what?
Not to worry.
Listen to,
Not to worry.
Exactly.
to work.
Not to worry.
Not to
Luisa told Carlos
About
not to worry
making
about making
mistakes.
mistakes.
about.
Luisa told Carlos not to worry about making mistakes.
Lisa told Carlos not to worry about making mistakes.
Verb, object, infinitive. Verb, object, infinitive.
Object, infinitive.
Please call me tonight
Tonight,
if you have
If you have
questions.
if you have questions.
Now,
say
am I
Please
gonna
call me
am I gonna
tonight if you have-
am I
Please
going
call
to
me tonight.
include the
Okay.
please?
No.
No, I don't need to keep the word please. So what did I say?
No,
Mr.
no,
Gray,
wait.
Mr. Gray what?
Mr. Gray
Me to call
Told me
told me that
Call
call
the
him
if I have any
if I
Tonight.
had questions, right?
if you have questions.
Or ask me, either way.
Mr. Gray asked
Mr. Gray
me
asked me to call him that night if I had
if I
any
have
questions.
questions.
Mr. Gray asked me to call him that night if I had any questions. So remember, verb, object, infinitive. Yeah, I think I sent everybody those slides from last week. No, it was maybe 2 weeks ago. Not sure. 2 weeks ago or last week. I'm not sure when. But check your slides and see if you have that one. The verb, object, infinitive pattern. We had a whole lesson about it. All right. Subjunctive. We also talked about this in that same lesson.
Subjunctive.
Remember when we talked about subjunctive?
Yes.
Subjunctive is when we, only with a few words,
Surprise.
insist,
Especially
demand,
insist, demand,
recommend,
and
suggest.
Use
We use the word that followed by a subject.
and base verb.
Example, our boss insists that we be on time.
We be on time. Our boss insists.
My roommate
We be
demanded
on
that
time.
I not touch his things.
Demanded that I not touch his things.
Harold's doctor recommended that he lose some weight.
Lose some weight.
Notice I'm not using past tense here, am I?
No,
No?
No, this is base form.
no.
This is base form, right?
It
Right,
doesn't
the-
have the
the-
ED.
The first verb is past,
Subject.
but here we have be,
Subjunctives.
touch, lose. I'm not using what we practiced before. Special case. If you're going to India, I suggest that you visit the Taj Mahal. Again, suggest that you visit. Base form. That's called subjunctive.
If you're going to India.
Yeah, good news,
Subjects.
subjunctive is not on your test, so don't panic about subjunctive. The final test, it's not even on the level 6 test. But especially with recommend and suggest, people make mistakes with that all the time. You cannot say, I hear a lot of people say, he suggested me to do it. No. He suggested that I do it.
Oh.
Yeah, don't use infinitive with suggest and recommend.
Suggested that.
Especially those two. I see people make mistakes all the time. So that's why I mention it. It's not on your test, but I mention it because I hear lots of mistakes with suggest and recommend.
The
So-
same thing on the number 2, Mr. Webb? The same thing on the number 2, that I not touch?
Yeah,
I not touch?
that I not touch. Yeah, again, it sounds strange.
Yeah. So we don't use that do not touch
No,
his.
no. that I not touch. Yeah. Yeah. But really, it's only about 5 or 6 words. I put the 4 most common ones up here. There are a few others, but not many. It's a very, very limited verb in English. And usually it's about either demanding something or suggesting something.
Okay, Mr. Webb.
So suggest, demand, advise, recommend, insist, demand, propose. There aren't very many, less than 10 words that use subjunctives. Okay, require is another one. Request is another one. Yeah, but there aren't very many. All right. Now, this is what is in your book. The difference between say and tell, right? But I think we already know, don't we? What's the difference between say and tell?
Say, we can say something, and tell, we have to tell somebody.
Exactly. With say, we always just say that, right? He said
Yes.
that, blah, 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 blah. But with tell, you have to have an object, a person.
I'm going to tell the teacher.
I'm going to tell the teacher
You're not doing the
that
homework.
You're not doing your homework, right? So look at the difference, right? If we have say, we usually don't have an object. When we use tell, we always have an object. By object, I mean a person. Example, Freddie said that he was hungry. Okay, no problem. But Freddie told me that he was hungry, right? If you say said, you don't say me. Only when you say told.
Told me.
Monica said she could drive to the concert, right?
She
No.
told me.
Monica told her friends she could drive to the concert. Notice it could be a pronoun or a noun. Pronoun or a noun, but she has to tell somebody. She has to tell somebody. You cannot say she told. Elena said that she would be ready in 10 minutes. A likely story. The husbands know the truth. 10 minutes is 30 minutes, maybe.
It's not enough 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not 10. Just give me a few more minutes. Elena told her husband that she would be ready in 10 minutes, right? Again, said that, told her husband that. Said that, told her husband that. Right? So when you use tell or told, you must have a person that you're telling, right? I told the story to the children, right? Okay, so say and tell, one has an object, one doesn't. Now, sometimes people say, he said to me that blah, 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 blah. But it's very unusual. If I'm going to say me, I usually say, he told me. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Oh, and remember, whenever you say and tell, you can say that or not. It's not important.
It's optional?
It's optional, yeah. You can say it or don't say it. So notice my sentence about Monica. I don't have
Monica.
that.
Yeah, Monica said.
But with Freddie and Elena, I have that. It's
Elena told her husband
again
that.
more formal English will have the word that. Less formal English, not so much. Okay? No problem.
Okay.
All right, some practice. Are we ready?
No.
All right, we got to do some stretching so we can be ready. Okay, let's see what we can do. Can you change these statements to reported speech?
No.
So I want you to in this practice we're going to only use said, okay? We're going to use said. So for example, I'm busy today, said Miguel. I'm busy today, said Miguel. Okay. So in reported
Miguel
speech,
said
what can we
that I
say?
was gonna be
Miguel
Miguel
told me that I was busy
said
today. Miguel said
that
Miguel
Yes.
said
that he was busy.
He was
was busy.
that day.
Miguel
Right.
told me that he was busy.
Said or told me, no problem, either way.
So
Miguel said that he was busy that day.
So as Miguel said,
That he was busy that day. Right? I
He
change
was
I am to he was. I change today to that day. Because I don't know when I was talking to Miguel. Maybe I was talking to him last Thursday.
that day.
Can you help me? Asked Louisa. Now this says can. Remember what happens to can?
Could.
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 Exactly. Exactly.
Could.
So what can we say? Lisa asked me
If I
if I could help.
if I could help her. Exactly.
If I could help him.
he asked if
If I
I
could
could
help
help her.
Yeah. Lisa asked me if I could help her.
Lisa asked.
I took chemistry last year, said Vanjie. Okay. So what can we say with this one?
When you say
Benji said that
that
You took chemistry.
chemistry last year.
Vanjie said that she had taken chemistry the year before.
You said
Took
that she has taken
had taken.
the year before.
oh yes.
Again, some people get lazy and just say took. It's okay. But if we're being extra careful about our verbs, we would change it to had taken. Vanjie said that she had taken chemistry the year before.
I am the least
Number 4. I will call you tomorrow, said Larry. Okay, what can we say for this one? Larry said
Larry said
Larry said
that
that
he
he would
he would
would
call me
call me the next day.
the next day. Exactly.
would call me the next.
Larry said that he would call me the next day. Larry said that he would call me the next day. Said that he would. Okay.
Taking.
All right. Let's try some more.
We don't have to copy, teacher?
No, I'll send you the slides. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
This store has a lot of fresh fruit. This store has a lot of fresh fruit. Simple present, right?
Emily said that
Emily
said
Emily said
that
that
the
store
that store
has
had
a lot of
fresh fruit.
lot
Simple past.
has a lot of fresh fruit.
The
She said that the store had a
Emily
lot of
said
fresh
that the
fruit.
store
fresh fruit.
had a lot of fresh fruit, right?
Fresh fruit.
Has changes to had. And
Had.
notice I changed this to the.
The
This store becomes the store.
store.
that the store had a lot of fresh fruit.
Number 6. I have
¿Lo está
never
escribiendo, Leo?
¿Eh?
¿Lo está
¿Lupe?
escribiendo? Yes.
No alcanzo.
Me neither.
I've never seen Star Wars.
No
Admitted.
alcanzo.
I have never seen Star Wars, admitted Leo. Okay.
Leo admitted
Leo admitted
That
that
Leo
she has
she had never
seen
had never seen
she
that
had never
Star Wars.
seen
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
had never seen
Leo admitted that he had never seen Star Wars,
I had never seen Star Wars.
right? Have never becomes had never.
Had.
Have becomes had. All
I
right.
never seen that Star Wars animated Leo. Let's
All
see.
right.
What is the main office?
Here's a question. Where is the main office? Asked Kenji. All right. So we got to make our 2 changes now. We got to use our noun clause form and we have to use a past tense verb. So what can we say here?
Kenji
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 asked
asked
the
me
main office.
where the main
Where
office
the main
Yes.
office
asked where
Was.
was.
The main
Who
office
was.
is.
Where's the
was
Yeah, Kenji
was
asked where the main office was.
where's the
Was.
main
main
office?
The
office.
Kenji
main office
asked
was.
where the main office was.
Kenji asked where the main
Kenji
office
Where's the main
was.
office?
where the main office was.
Now remember, with the verb ask you can use a person or not. I can say Kenji asked a student, or I can just say Kenji asked. No problem.
Hmm.
With say and tell is different, but ask can be both. Okay. I'm going to the game tonight, said Bill. I'm going to the game tonight, said Bill. Okay.
Bill
Can we do here?
Said
was going
Said
to
that
he's
he
going to
was
the game.
going to the game tonight.
last
The
That
game.
night.
Mhm. Bill said that he
Night,
was
yes.
going to the game
He
that
was
night.
going to the game that night. Okay.
oh, that night.
That night.
Yeah, you say, I called him yesterday and he told me
was
he was
going
going
to
to the
the
game
game.
that night.
So say, what is the name? We don't have to say his name, Bill.
Huh? Yeah,
This is-
I have Bill here.
Bill said.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm lying. Bill said. And he
All
was
right.
going to.
Oh, now this one is command, right? Be careful, said my mother.
Say mama.
Okay, so what are we going to say in this
My
case?
mother said,
My mother says
Said
to be careful.
Or my
My
mother
mother said
told me
that
to be
I
careful.
told me to
Told
be
me to be
careful.
told me to be
My
careful.
mother told me, my mother told me
Told
to
me
be
to be
careful. Okay.
Verb, object, infinitive. Mhm. Now you could say, I think Lupe said, my mother said to be careful, which is fine too.
Okay.
Usually you have an object, but you can use said to, right? Say
Yeah.
the teacher said to do it today, right? I can
Okay.
say it like that too. I don't have to say told me.
The teacher told me to do
Yeah,
it today,
told me
no?
or said to.
Let's say to.
He
to
said
say.
to do it
Okay.
today.
I should go to
I
the
should go to
show
that show,
tonight.
said Peter. Okay, now this is a should. Remember what happens about should?
the same.
Stays
It's
the
the
same.
same.
Stays the same. Exactly. So Peter
But-
said,
I love that word.
you love those. Huh?
Said
Very handy, right?
that he showed to go to the show.
Would
He should
That
go
he
to
go
showed.
to the show.
Right, Peter said that he
I
should go
should-
to the show.
I should go to the
All right. So far, so good.
Yes.
So
All right. All right. The end. The teacher said that this was important. Yeah, that's right.
Was
Very good student there, listening very carefully to the information. All right. Teacher said that this was important. All right. Good. All right. Okay. All right. Are you ready to do some practice?
yes.
Okay. Now, does everybody have a book? Who doesn't have a book?
Oh, me, David,
do.
Suela. We don't have a book.
Edith
Have you
doesn't have a
book?
book, and Claudia doesn't have a book. Just two people.
David Suela too.
David as well. Three people don't have a book. Okay, so I'll make sure you're in a group with somebody that has a book. Okay. All right. So I want everybody to open up their book to page. Oops. To page, what page is it? Let me see here. It's page 43. 43. Okay, let me show you what page 43 looks like. All right, see here. Show all the windows. Page 43. There we go. All right, you see on the bottom of page 43, there are 14 questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
See those questions on the bottom? And again,
Yes.
if you don't have a book, don't worry. I'm going to put you in a group with somebody that has a book. Okay. Okay.
I
So
have that. I have that book.
Okay, this is the purple book.
Yes.
Purple. This is the purple book. This is page 43. Yeah, I think 43, right? 43. Yeah, 43 in the purple book. All right. So let's practice together first, and then I want you to let's do reported speech. Now, in the book, if you look at the examples in the book, they don't change the verbs. But we're not going to do that. We're going to practice changing the verbs. All right? So I want you to ask me this question, and then I want you to do a report. Okay? So, Isadora, can you ask me number 1, please?
Who do you live with?
I live with my wife and my daughter. Okay? So, what are we going to say? The teacher said
The teacher said that
he
he
lived with
her
his
daughter,
wife and his daughter.
and his
Wife
wife.
and the
Right. The teacher said that he lived, past tense, with his wife and his daughter.
And his daughter.
Okay, Claudia, ask me number 2.
Okay, where do you live?
I live in Eagle Rock. Okay, so what are we going to say? The teacher said
that
he lived in Eagle Rock. Right. The
Eagle
teacher said that he lived in Eagle Rock. All right. Let's see. Julio, ask me number 3.
What language do you speak at home?
Mostly English, but sometimes Japanese. Okay?
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you know how to speak Japanese? Oh, that's great.
My wife doesn't think so, but I do.
That's a good one.
So
the
teacher said that he spoke English and Japanese at his house, right?
That he spoke English and Japanese.
Yeah, the teacher said that he spoke English and Japanese at home.
At his home.
Okay. Number 4, Rosendo, can you ask me number 4?
What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a Nissan. All right. So what can we say? The teacher said.
The teacher said that he drove a Nissan.
Exactly. The teacher said that he drove a Nissan. The teacher said that he drove a Nissan. All right. Let's see. Rita, can you ask me the next one, number 5?
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Okay. So what are we gonna say?
The
teacher said he has 2 brothers and 1 sister.
The teacher said that he had 2 brothers and 1 sister, right? Very good. All right. Let's see. Who else do I have here? How about Lupe? Can you ask me number 6?
6. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many?
I have 1 daughter. All right. So what can you say?
The teacher said
he had
one daughter.
1 daughter. The teacher said that he had 1 daughter.
The teacher said he had 1 daughter.
Let's see. Number 7. David Escuela, please ask me number 7.
What kind of food does your family eat?
My family usually eats Japanese food. So what can you say?
The teacher said that he have a family ate
Japanese food,
Japanese food.
Right. The teacher said that his family ate Japanese food.
Mister, do you know how to cook Japanese food?
No.
No?
When we eat Japanese food, I'm not cooking. I'll tell you that much right now. That's bad news when I'm trying to cook Japanese food. Yeah, you know when I lived in Japan, you know my favorite restaurant. My favorite restaurant in Japan, McDonald's. McDonald's. Yes. They call it McDonald's. Yes. McDonald's. Yes. I went to McDonald's a lot. All right. Let's see. the next one. Let's see. How about, let's see, David Azuela. Can you ask me the next one?
Oh, again?
Oh, no, sorry. I just called
Yeah.
you. Sorry, David.
Okay, don't worry about it.
How about Noel?
Yes.
Ask me number 8.
9.
8.
Oh, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is lasagna. Lasagna. Okay. Leonardo is having problems
The
here.
teacher said
That his
his
favorite
favorite
food
food was lasagna.
was lasagna, right? Teacher
No,
said
I did.
that his favorite food.
Teacher,
Hmm?
teacher, aquí estoy.
Eh?
Teacher,
Okay, you're here.
yes.
Leonardo, okay, no problem.
Yeah, I disconnect my tablet.
Oh, okay, you've been struggling. Okay, I hope everything is okay now.
Yeah, I put connected.
Okay, very good. All right.
The number
Let's see.
8. The number.
One name. What number?
Number 9.
Why do you do study English?
No, number 9.
Number 9.
9.
What do you do for fun?
What do you do for fun?
Fun.
What do I do for fun? I like to play sports. I like to play sports. So,
What kind of sport?
I like softball and basketball. Although I don't play basketball very much anymore. I'm pretty slow. So, but I play softball. Right?
The teacher said that he played some sports
for fun, right? Okay, let's see. How about Edith? Can you ask me, well, let's skip number 10. Ask me number 11.
11. Okay. How often are you absent from class?
I am rarely absent from class. All right. So what do we say? The teacher said?
The teacher said that he was rarely absent for class.
Rarely absent, right? The teacher said that he was rarely absent. But
Rarely?
Rarely.
absent from class.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. How about Rosendo? Can you ask me number
12.
12?
Yes.
How often do you
Are
late
you?
the are you late in class to class? How often are you late to class?
Sometimes late to class. Not usually, but sometimes. Today I was 2 minutes late, right? All right. So what do you say?
Every day, teacher.
Every day? That's not true. That's not true. All right. 1 minute maybe. All right. So sometimes, okay? I'll admit sometimes. Okay. So what are you going to say? The teacher said that he was sometimes late. Sometimes late for class. All right. Let's see. Guadalupe, can you ask me number 13?
What is school subject? Sure. What school subjects do you like?
Let's see. I like English and history.
The teacher says
The teacher said that
he liked English and
history.
History.
All right. Good. All right. And let's see. How about, let's see. Have I asked everybody?
Yes.
Anybody I forget? Okay. How about Jose Garcia?
Okay. Do you have a job?
Yes, I do.
Where do you work?
I work in my bedroom. All right. So what are you going to say?
Teacher said
he work in his bedroom.
Yeah, that's right.
He have a job.
Yes. He had a job and he worked in his bedroom. Yeah.
He was
But sometimes I work at a school. Maybe in the future I will work at a school. All right. Okay. Good.
Yes.
All right. No problems. You got the idea, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to put you in some little groups and I want you to ask each other these questions. Okay. If you don't have a book, don't worry. You can just make up your own question. Okay. You can ask any kind of question you like. All right. But then what's the important part? The important part is reporting on what the person said. Okay. So one person will ask the question, one person will answer the question, and the third person will say what happened, right? Everybody got it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to put you in your rooms here. Let's see here. Let's do, we got 14 people. So how about 4 rooms with 3 or 4 people in them? Okay, let me see. And who said they didn't have a book? Edith, you don't have a book, right?
Yes.
But Isadora, you have a book, right?
Yes.
And Noel, you have a book? Noel?
Yes, I do have it.
Okay, good. All right. And who else doesn't have a book?
David don't have a book. Yes.
David Azuela? Okay,
Yes.
but Rosendo, do you have a book?
Yes, I do have a book.
You do or don't?
Yes, I do.
You do have, okay. All right, so David, you'll be in a group with Rosendo so you can listen to his questions, and then you just make up your own questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, and who else? Rita has a book, yes?
I don't have a book, Mr. Webb.
Oh, Rita doesn't have a book.
No.
But Armando, do you have a book?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be in the group with Armando, so no problem. And then when it's your turn, you just make up a question, okay?
Okay.
All right, and let's see. Claudia, you have a book? No. Claudia?
Gloria.
Oh, we just lost Claudia. She disappeared. All right. All right. Hopefully she'll be back. All right. All right. What about Jose Garcia and Julio and Leonardo? You all have books, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put you in your rooms, and then you're gonna practice. Remember, the key point is after the question and the answer, right? The report.
Yes.
So question, answer, report. Question, answer, report. Okay. Everybody got it?
Yes.
All right.
I got it.
Let's talk to each other. Okay. I'm pushing the button. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Action report.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. Claudia, do you see a button?
No.
Okay, I'll put you in a different room then. Let me see here. Oh, that's right. I think you were out of the room for just a second. So I'll put you in room 4. Okay. Let me see.
Okay.
Assign to room 4. There we go. All right. And Leonardo, are you in a room? Maybe that's an extra.
A ver, let me.
Okay.
What?
It's for me?
Edit.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
How are we doing?
What is your favorite food?
Ay. My favorite food is
Enchiladas.
yes, enchiladas.
Okay.
Yes, enchiladas.
Yes,
Everybody
enchiladas.
loves enchiladas. Yes.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
They're delicious.
Yeah. The enchiladas.
Okay. No.
What's the next question?
Number 8.
No.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, but you have to give the report, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do we say? Edith said that.
Yeah. Edith said that she likes.
That her favorite
Her
food
favorite
was.
food
Was enchiladas.
That was enchiladas.
Enchiladas.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edith said that her favorite food was enchiladas.
Enchiladas.
Okay.
Okay, so the number 9. Isidora, what do you do for fun?
For fun, I'm going to the beach.
You go to the beach.
For fun.
Okay.
You're going to the beach. Okay, so Isidora said that she did for fun.
Simple past. We
No,
want simple
no,
past,
no.
right?
She was
Isidora,
She
going to
went
she
She
went
went,
to the
she
beach for fun.
went to
but
the beach
but,
for fun.
Yeah.
but it's at the moment I'm going to the.
Yeah, because she,
But the question was in general, right? What do
Okay.
you do for fun in general?
For fun. Okay.
So I go to the beach. Okay.
I'm going to the
So
beach.
Isadora
Yeah.
said that she went to the beach for fun
She went to the beach. Okay.
in
she
general.
went,
Mhm.
she went to the beach. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now,
Noel
David,
or
Noel,
Noel?
ask a question, Noel.
What's the number
10.
10.
number 10? Okay, I'm gonna ask number 10. Why do you study English?
Oh, good
That's
question.
gonna be for Eddie.
Okay.
Eddie.
I study English because for a better communication with everyone.
Very good. Sounds good to me.
Edith say that she studied English for better communication.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
everyone.
Good job. All right, keep working. I'm going to go to the next room. Okay.
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 Around 38 years.
38 years?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah.
Guadalupe said that she had lived in Los Angeles for 38 years.
That's good.
Good, good, good. Yes. Somebody ask?
Rosen, David,
Yes.
let me see. What do you do for fun?
Okay. I ride my motorcycle for fun.
Okay. David said he.
David
I'm no,
said
sorry.
that
Go ahead,
he-
Rosenda.
Rosenda.
that he arrived.
Now that's informal English. That's okay. But if you're going to be more formal, what do we say? David said that he
rode
his motorcycle for fun.
His motorcycle.
David said that he rode his motorcycle
Rode
for
his
fun.
motorcycle for fun.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Uh,
Can you ask Rosendo to Guadalupe?
yes. Dave, who do you go with? Who do you go with? Riding? Who do you go with? Riding your motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who do you ride with, right? Okay.
Yeah. Who do you ride with?
I'm right alone. By myself, alone.
David said he rode. That's why he's riding his bicycle by himself.
He
or
rode his bicycle
Rode.
by himself. Right? David said that he rode by himself.
Yeah.
He rode by himself. Okay.
Good. You guys are doing great. Keep working. I'm going to the next room. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You guys got it. It sounds like you're doing perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Which
What
number are
happened
we?
to your other partner?
I don't know. She left. I think she had a
You got angry?
internet
Problem? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I can be a partner in here.
Okay. So we are on number 10, Armando. You want me to ask?
Yeah.
The question? Okay. Okay. Why do you study English?
I want to improve my skills, my English skills.
Okay. Armando said that he wants to improve his English, right?
His English skills. Yes. His language skills.
English skills, yes. Okay, Armando.
Okay, what do you, how often are you absent from school?
Yeah, I really absent sometimes when I'm busy. So maybe like I attend in class maybe 3 times a week.
Okay, Rita said that she had been absent for about 3 times a week.
I hope not absent 3 times a week. That would be bad news. She attended 3 times a week. Right?
Oh, she attended that. Okay.
That would be not a good student if you're absent 3 times a week.
Yes, yes.
There's only 4 classes.
She attended that. Yeah.
Okay, Armando, how often are you late to class?
Probably once a week.
Okay, Amanda said that he is late once a week.
Or we could use formal English and say, Armando said that he was late once a week, right? Right.
Okay.
Remember, when we use the formal English, what you said is okay, but that's informal, right? Formal English, he said that he was late once a week.
Okay.
Remember, first verb past, other verbs also past.
Okay. Okay, Rita. What scoop subjects do you like?
I like math.
Math student, okay.
Yes.
Well, good student. Yeah. Rita say that she likes maths.
Said that she liked math.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Amanda, do you have a job?
Not really right now. It's because of the coronavirus.
Okay, Armando said that he has no job.
Or that he didn't have a job.
Oh, he didn't have no job. Okay.
At the moment.
I think we finished our.
You're finished?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's close the breakout rooms and we'll see you back inside. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Webb. Bye, Armando.
Bye.
See you in a minute.
Okay,
Bye.
Mr.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Welcome back. Did you have a good chat with your classmates?
Yes.
Más o menos?
Más o menos.
Menos que más? All right. So we're going to do one more thing here before we call it a night. And then we're going to practice this more tomorrow and more next week. So because there's a lot of things in this chapter, right? There's the indirect questions, the yes/no questions, and the reported speech. That's a lot for one chapter. That's
No mercy. No mercy for the students.
No mercy for the students in chapter 3. So we'll practice more tomorrow and more next week. But I do want to share one thing. Now this is actually not your book, but it's the next book in the list. But this one has the past tense forms. So I want to share this with you. Do you see the page?
Yes.
No. Which page is it?
It's not in the book.
Oh.
This is in the next book. Yeah, there's a book that's after the number 4, and the number 4 book doesn't have the past tense. So I want to show you the past tense here. Okay? Can everybody see it where it says focus indirect statements?
Yes.
Yeah. So don't look at your book because this is a Ventures book, but it's the higher level.
Okay.
Yeah, this is for like level 6 students.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't use this book very much in our class. All right, so anyway, I want to use it tonight because it has the what we're talking about. Notice here in the direct, it says, I volunteer. And notice it changes to, she said that she volunteered. Right? Present becomes past.
She said that she...
I am enjoying becomes she said that she
was enjoying.
Right? I am becomes she was. The next one, we can't find jobs. What do we say? They said that
they couldn't find jobs.
Find jobs. Exactly. Can't changes to couldn't.
Couldn't.
It's not in the book.
Oh,
It's a different book.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can only look at this on the screen.
Okay.
Can you put can you send?
I can try. Yeah. I'll see what I can do. Let's see. It says, I'm not good with carpentry. I am. Right? What are we going to change it to? Rebecca said
she wasn't good
at carpentry. And next one, I don't like answering phones, Rob said. Rob said that
Rob
he
said that
He
didn't
didn't
like
didn't like
answering the
answering.
phones.
Good. All right, so let's see if we can do this together before we call it a day. All right, we got 6 statements here, and we're going to try to change them. Remember, what do we have to do? We have to change the pronouns, we have to change the verbs, and sometimes we
and
have
the
to change the
subject.
time. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so volunteering is a wonderful way to gain experience for a job. She said that volunteering was a wonderful way to gain experience, right? I changed is to was.
Okay.
All right, the next one says, we have many different kinds of volunteer jobs. What could we say for that one?
They
They
said
said that
We
had many
they
different
had many
They have
different types
different
many
types of
different
volunteers
types of
for
volunteer
jobs.
Right.
jobs.
So she said that. Oops, that's number 1.
No.
Here's number 2.
They
She said that they had
They
They
have
different.
had
Oh, okay.
many different types of volunteer
She
jobs.
said
Yeah,
that
she said
they
that
have.
they had many different kinds.
They had.
Can everybody see the answers?
They had many different types.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. The next one says volunteers can work in a hospital, school, or nursing home. All right. What can we say there?
Volunteer could.
Right.
Volunteer
So she
could
said
work.
that
She said that
Work in
Volunteers
a
volunteers
co-work
could work in a
or
school,
hospital.
hospital, nursing home, or library.
nursing working home or library.
Could,
could
right?
work.
Can
Yeah.
changes to could.
Could.
Okay.
All right. This one is a negative, but simple present. So what are we going to say for this one? We don't need volunteers at the animal shelter.
We didn't need volunteers.
No, she
She said that, remember,
He
change
said that
to the person. So she said that they
They didn't
they didn't need
right.
Need
a volunteer
volunteers.
at the animal shelter.
They said that they didn't need volunteers at the animal shelter. They said that they didn't
They
need.
need.
Right. Okay. Next, number 5. It is a good idea to include volunteer experience on a resume.
She said that
say
it was a good
that
idea to include
was
volunteer experience in a
Exactly. She
was
said
a
that
good
it
idea.
was a good idea, right?
It
She
was a
said
good
that it
idea.
was a good idea.
She said it is
Okay.
a good idea.
And the ultima. We are looking for several people to help with the cleanup this weekend. Okay.
She said
that
she's looking for several
been
people.
looking for several
They were
people to
looking
help
for
with beach
Been looking
cleanup this weekend.
To help with beach cleanup weekend.
There we go. She said that they were looking for several people to help with the beach cleanup. They were looking, right?
They were
We
looking.
are looking
yeah.
She
changes to
said
they
that they
were.
were looking. They were looking
Present
for
continuous
several
changes to past continuous.
people to
Could.
help.
Okay.
Could. Okay.
No problem.
No problem. Little bit.
All right. Little problem. All right. I'll try to make a copy of this and send it to you tonight. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Good. Look at the time. It's almost 9 o'clock. We're out of time again. Time goes so fast in this class. I know. Oof.
It went so fast.
Where does the time go? All right. So tomorrow night we're not gonna study anything new tomorrow night. We're gonna review the 3 things we've talked about so far. What did we talk about? Indirect questions, if and whether questions, and reported speech. So we're going to talk about all that stuff again tomorrow. So we'll have everything all together tomorrow and probably on Monday too. So until we get very strong in this, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Okay? How do we feel? We feel good?
Yes.
It's a little tricky, right? A little tricky this chapter. So read it carefully. Don't be afraid to watch the video again if you need to, right? And I did send you the slides. You should already have the slides on your phone from today and from yesterday. So you have.
Which chapter is this? Chapter 3?
This is all from chapter 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything we're talking about in this last week, from Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everything we talked about for the last 4 classes is chapter 3. Okay. So note, we're going to have no test this weekend because we're still not done with chapter 3 yet. So I'll have a test for you for next week on chapter 3. Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
No problem.
Good enough. We made it to the end of Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
One more day. One more day, and then it's the weekend. All right. Gracias a todos to everybody, okay?
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
We'll
Good
talk,
luck,
we'll
everyone.
talk to you again tomorrow. No drinking and driving. Be
No.
safe, be
Oh,
careful.
no.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. You're doing great. You're doing great. Thanks for sticking in
Thank
there.
you.